Take number 99. Welcome, everyone. You're tuning in. You have some interest about mobile home investing. Thank you so much for watching. My name is John Fedro. I'm here with Jonathan, and I'm so happy to have you, Jonathan, on today's call. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, glad to be here.
It's
Glad to finally see you face to face. So.
it is. It is nice to see you face to face.
Mhm.
This is cool. We've talked a bunch. We've talked.
Mhm.
When did we get started together? When did you get started with mobile homes?
So 4 months. I'm pretty much right at about the 4 month mark.
Okay, so it's been 4 months. We've been talking for 4 months. It's cool to see you face to
Mhm.
face. My image of
Yeah,
people is
definitely.
never the accurate of what I'm
Yeah.
expecting. I don't know what I'm
So
expecting, but
it's
it's like
always that way.
it's like
It's
oh,
not just you, it's everybody. So.
okay, it's okay. It's a pleasant surprise always, just not what I'm expecting. Um, Now, speaking of things not what they're expecting, that might be a good segue. Was mobile home investing what you were expecting? I mean, it can't be exactly what you were expecting, but now that you've been doing this for 4 months, you're semi-successful. We'll talk about that. Has it been what you expected, or you going to keep going? Yeah.
It kind of has, just because I've watched your videos, other people with YouTube channels that do it, studied it. This is something that I paid attention to and studied to for probably a year and a half before I jumped in. So I feel like I was pretty prepared and educated for what it was going to be. So
Studied and prepared was, oh, what does that look like?
not necessarily studied and prepared, but I just did my due diligence,
Okay.
watching your teaching videos, watching these videos, 20, 30 of them. I felt like I had a pretty good grasp of, you know, the highs, the lows, the pitfalls, what to expect, what can be good, what
Mhm.
can be bad. That's what I meant.
Was part of that time just because it was so foreign to you? I mean, if this was something more that you could wrap your brain around with traditional real estate, but was part of it, oh, I'm not being the guinea pig, or that's not, it was just an disbelief in mobile homes themselves?
No, it was a capital issue. So
Hmm.
yeah, we bought this property, my wife and I and three kids, 2 years ago. And 2 months after we got here, my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer. And she's fine. She's well. She's doing well. She's healthier than she's ever been. But she was off work for about a year, and yeah, just no money. So it was something that I was waiting in the wings. She started back to work. We started saving, and then basically, once I got my $5,000, which is what I was saving to get started, kind of the bare minimum, it was go time. Now this is, we're doing this late October. I was ready to go in February, and then everyone knows what happened in February. The COVID hit, and so just hit pause till June to see what was going to happen. That's when things kind of started. We're breaking out of quarantine. Things were coming a bit more normal. So that was about the time that I said I had the money. Uh, the little stimulus money they gave us was a nice little boost that I put right in towards, this business. And yeah, so started in June. So
Any real estate experience prior?
no, nope. Always been interested, always, but no, never invested.
Are you doing this solo? I mean, are you probably have the emotional support of your wife, but you doing this by yourself, more or less?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
cool. Uh, how many hours a week would you say that you started with? I mean, I know when me and you got started, there's a plan and we take action, but how many hours were you able to invest in the beginning? And has that changed? And if so, why?
Yeah. So uh, there was about a 1 month pause of when you and I had our initial conversation of, do I really have the time for this? Because I have a full-time job. I do not work from home. I have 3 kids. I have this hobby farm that and, I kind of had this question of like, do I really have the time? And as I started thinking about it over the weeks, I started thinking about well, you and I talked about it, right? I mean, there's just my lunch break, an hour a day, 5 days a week. There's my 5 hours, my drive home, the evenings, Saturdays. So yeah, when I went in and kind of my wife, we were in agreement that we're doing this. I'm doing this 100%. And so yeah, I mean, between my work, which is 45 average hours a week, I'm doing this another 20, I would say, on top of that. All my lunch breaks are dedicated to business. Every day after work, I'm driving neighborhoods, I'm meeting buyers, sellers, whatever. A lot of times I don't get home till between 7 and 8. And then Saturdays, like I said, I got kids, so I'll kind of do a 9 to early afternoon on Saturdays. Sunday, if there's something very lucrative, or I'm going to buy a home or sell a home or something very good, Sundays are open too. So
That's where the time has to come from somewhere. I mean, what a boring video that would be to watch you go about your day. I mean, it's boring, maybe not to people that are watching it, but I mean, I just liken it to, I don't know, Tiger Woods just shooting a golf ball, monotonously, or Michael Jordan just shooting free throws. And just, that's so boring, but that's where this business comes down to, that talking to sellers and closing deals, that's just a small part of the business. In the beginning, especially, a huge bit of time is building up that reputation.
Yeah, it
How many?
is. It's a grind.
It is a grind.
The first 30 days. The first 30 days, it's definitely.
Where did your
got to grind it out? So,
speaking of your first 30 days, where did that first mobile home come from, and did it fall in your lap, or was it? Yeah, actually, I'm kind of drawing a little bit of a blank. Where did that first deal come from, and how quickly did that develop?
I'll just kind of give you the story, but yeah, this guy had moved up from out of state to live with his brother. He'd been there for about 2 months with his wife and his brother. Started feeling like a third wheel. Said, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to buy this mobile home. So we got in the mobile home, been there 2 months, and just really became ultimately depressed. He did not like being there himself. I think he truly had like anxiety and panic attacks about it. So when this guy called me, he was very calm about it. He wanted $6,000 for this home. We kind of went through the script that we have. I said, I'm usually on these homes more to between 15 and 3. He said, well, we'll I could maybe do 3. Why don't you come out? And so I went ahead, and based off of the question, and it sounded qualified enough for me to go out there and do it. And so I went out there, took pictures. The next morning, I'm at work, got my job. 8 a.m. This guy calls me, and he calls me 10 minutes later. And I said, I know what he wants. He's getting very anxious about what it is. So I didn't answer any of his calls till lunch. He called me 3 or 4 times. So he leaves me a voicemail. He said, if you call me back right now, I'll sell this to you for $2,000. And so I called him and basically, drove up there that afternoon. I bought it for $2,000. It was a 76-1, but it was in really good condition. And drove up there and pretty much that was it. Closed that first one. That was my first one that I bought. So
It goes to show that this business, it's not just buying dilapidated mobile homes that need work. In fact, we try maybe not to do that as much. We want to help folks that are somewhat conscious of how they're living, they're clean, they're somewhat tidy, they have a pride of ownership. But then it's not even a bad thing that happened to this guy. I mean, he consciously bought something, mobile home living wasn't right for him. What a weird, not weird, but what a just a unique reason for selling. And that's just one of hundreds of thousands of people across the country, and just of a unique situation.
yeah, he made a mistake. He made a mistake. He said, I should have never left my brother. That was his plan. He'd been there 2 months, and I helped him out.
Do you know if he took a loss? Do you know what he bought it for?
He told me that he bought it for $2,000.
Okay.
So I think that he broke even.
Okay. Any repairs needed after you closed? Anything he wasn't telling you?
Well, so there was a room addition on it that added about I don't know 150 square feet or something, and it appeared to have leaked over time. It was just natural wood. The carpet was heavily stained. The wood paneling looked like it had water staining. It didn't look that great. The kitchen faucet and the bathroom faucet needed replaced. No big deal. And then I'd say half the skirting on the home, about 40-50 feet of it was plywood. Another 40-50 was just bent, busted, just kind of needed straightened up. So I did that. But that room addition roof ended up leaking, and that was $200 that I was not expecting to put in it. That was at the very kind of end of the rehab. My contractor called me. It had been dry, summertime, and a big rain, and he said this room is leak. I went there; it was dripping out of the ceiling in multiple locations. So just rolled some flat what's that, rolled asphalt shingle.
Yep.
Yeah, just one roll of it covered it. $100 roll. He charged me $100. So
inside of the home, everything was only wet for just a short period of time, where that just didn't leave any issue, or you just dried it up.
And I didn't have the carpet in there yet, so it could have dried a little bit more. When I sold it, that front entry room had a little bit of a dampness smell, nothing overpowering, but maybe it was just me, but I sold it. So
you fixed it. Yeah. Cash or payments?
Yeah, I sold it for cash. So since I only started with 5,000 in this business, I knew that my plan coming in was basically doubling my money. That's what I did on that one. Wasn't trying to get greedy, wanted to make it quick. I just wanted to build capital as quickly as possible. So doubled my money. Little few hiccups here and there with it, but I was super pumped about it. I sent you the picture. Yeah. The guy paid me in 20s.
That's right.
A giant stack of 20s. The guy that bought it. It was hilarious.
Yeah. How did that that has to feel, that validation right there. That's what you worked for. Granted, it's just a one-time payoff, but can I ask, did you do something to celebrate first deal? Did you go?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I bought my wife a gift because she's the one that sacrifices big time where I'm not getting home till 8 p.m. So she does a lot. So I definitely bought her a gift. It was validating for me. It was validating to come home and go, I told you this works. Here, hold this. Feel how heavy this is. And
I can see you do it. Yeah. On that first deal, what was it that seemed the most, before you did it, what seemed the most overwhelming?
as you know, or maybe you don't know, but someone that's going through your program, you're doing these training modules, right? So you are getting called to action in early where you still have a lot to learn before you get to them. So it's kind of, as things happen, you all of a sudden you're thrust into a situation of like, I haven't got to that module yet, so I'll call John and do this. So I didn't have a contractor lined up. Because, as I said, I wasn't working in that city. I wasn't canvassing or working there.
That's right.
The brother found it, so I did the Craigslist gig ad, and didn't have much luck. Ended up calling the park manager and asking her, and she said, I've got a guy. This is my guy that I use for everything. He's the most trustworthy person. I would give him the key to my home.
Oh.
I trust him with everything. This is who I use for everything. And I'm thinking, awesome. I just got her guy. Well, he wasn't the most honest person. And what was supposed to be done in a weekend, I don't know if you remember this, but the home had nothing fancy, but it had a little 3 security cameras with wires running all around in that room addition I talked about, and a DVR. And he went and looked at that house, and he goes, if you give me those cameras and that thing and $100, I'll do what you want me to do. So I'm thinking, yeah, I have no use for those. Well, one piece of advice I would ever say is, if you ever give a handyman something out of a home or anything, make sure that they take it very last, because I'm pretty sure he took it and spent 3 days at his own house jacking around installing his new security camera system he was excited about. But just on many, many occasions, I'll be done tomorrow. The next day, had to take my girlfriend to work, had this. The manager that I worked for, she called me off onto a couple other things. And then this went into what was going to be a weekend, became like 2 weeks. And I was really getting ready to fire him until he finally showed up on the job and discovered those leaks that I was talking about, and which kind of just forced me to keep him in there because he had discovered the leaks. But long story short, he ended up finally getting it done. Yeah, that was an initial challenge that I wasn't expecting. The personal challenge for me, and I explained to you one time on the phone, is that I have a background in construction. My dad's taught me well. I got a lot of tools, and I've got a pretty good skill set myself. And my wife had told me when I got into this business, you cannot be a handyman. I can't have you doing this business and then going and doing all this. Well, as soon as this guy stopped up, my instant reaction was, I could go knocked out in person. But I made a commitment to her and to myself of being business minded about this, and I didn't lift a finger. I hired everything out, and I'm glad that I did, because I learned a lot, made some new contacts that way, and then eventually ended up finding a contractor that I have now been working with currently. So,
do you mind? How did you find this person? Facebook, signs, something else?
He was one of the Craigslist gig ads.
Okay.
However, I found on those that's about a week-long process. That's not you send it out and then, at least in my experience, it's not like you get 10 resumes. Mm-hmm. It's usually about 5 in a week is what I get. So I was chomping at the bit. You've in this business, you're constantly up against the next month's lot rent. So I put out that ad, but then when I got the manager's referral, I was thinking, oh, I'm golden. This is the way to go.
Yeah.
Learn that lesson 1.
That's the tough one to spot when it's a park owner or it's the park manager that gives you the referral. Um, but then again, you can still talk to them. I mean, we still have our deal breaker questions. We're still looking for certain things before we even meet. And then once we do meet, we can look for red flags. And I mean, the scope of work and the contractor's agreement that we have. The gentleman that you first used, you don't think that you're going to use him again, or you might use him in a pinch?
Maybe in a pinch, a junk hauling situation. I think he could. I think he's the type that might jump on that. But I could see myself calling him in the future. But I'm happy with who I'm working with now, and I'm making new contacts where he's just falling further and further
Yeah.
down the list. So
Good for you for not lifting a finger. I forgot about that. Ooh, the discipline. That must have been you knew you could have it done on the market already.
first deal, the temptation was right there, the very first one.
I hope that that video was helpful. The investors that I interview on this channel are people that I work with. And the credit goes to them. We spend a good deal of time together over the phone, working on deals, looking at pictures, making offers together. But the folks that I work with, the folks that I interview, including a lot of folks that have their own YouTube channels now. I've been helping folks for the past 10 years invest in mobile homes, and I really help to keep people out of trouble, save people money, and make people a lot of money as well. Now, the people I interview on this channel, again, the credit goes to them. Yes, there's a lot of time that we spend together, but ultimately it's that investor, just like it might be you in the future, putting in the time and the effort and the energy and having 1,000 opportunities to just give up along the way. If you think that this is something for you, if you'd like to learn more about mobile home investing, you can check out a free website, mobilehomeinvesting.net. Should be right up here somewhere. And then if you want to get started working one-on-one potentially or learn more about what that takes, you can always go ahead and go to the website below that you see right there, and you can learn more about moving forward with a training program called the Mobile Home Formula, and us working together one-on-one with daily phone calls, daily help as needed. This business is real time. You're going to have questions. Things change day to day. If you can believe it, in real estate, it just changes day to day like that. You're seeing new things, you're talking to new people, and you should have somebody on your side. Somebody that has over 18 years of experience and has helped a number of people with some crazy situations and stories. And I don't say that to brag or anything. I just say that because there's a lot of weird situations out there that I might not have believed them if I didn't go through them, firsthand or secondhand, helping so many people from the East Coast to the West Coast, or the West Coast to the East Coast, depending on which way this video is turned. Okay, so thanks so much for watching this video. Again, I really hope that it was helpful. If we never work together, you can always email me. My email's always on for you again, support@mobilehomeinvesting.net. If you ever need me, support@mobilehomeinvesting.net regardless. And then anything else, have a great rest of the day. I hope that you learned so much. Take massive action. You can do this. If you have any questions, reach out. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.